Hi, I'm Wyatt. And I'm Grace. And you're listening to Our Dad and your host of the Vacation Rental Revolution podcast.
Hey guys, welcome to this week's episode of the Lifestyle Asset University podcast. I'm super excited today. We get to talk to one of our members inside of our membership group and inside of our training group. And we've got Misti Petrie here joining us. Misti, say hi to everybody.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. It's super fun to have you. Her husband, Troy, is actually setting up their new lifestyle asset. So we're going to miss him today. And we wish, I guess, Missy, you're probably happy. You're getting out of some furniture set up a little bit. So we say we miss him. You're like, hey, you're glad what he's doing, right?
I am. No calluses for me, for sure.
Right. Awesome. Well, listen, I'm excited about today. As you've gone through this journey, it's going to be fun to talk to you and let everybody hear kind of how your experience has been getting your first lifestyle asset, your first vacation home, and going through that process. And I know it's been a fun one, and not without some bumps in the road, as always, right? There's always some challenges that we'll talk about, and I'm sure you'll share. But to start off, I like to start with some rapid fire questions, and they have nothing to do with vacation rentals. So you're prepared, right?
Okay, sounds good.
This is just for us to kind of get to know you a little bit and personality-wise. So first, I'll just say two questions, and you just tell me the answer. So mountains or beach?
Mountains.
All right. Urban or rural?
I'd say rural.
Okay. Netflix or nightclub?
Netflix.
All right. Truck or car?
Oh, probably car.
All right. Well, you're a mountain girl. You got to go.
I know.
In the car, huh? All right.
Yeah, and too small for those big trucks.
All right. Tea or coffee?
Oh, tea. I'm actually drinking a cup right now.
Nice. All right. Perfect timing. Protein bar or protein shake?
Oh, protein shake.
All right. Summer or winter?
Winter. Skier.
All right. Yeah, that explains the property we're going to talk about. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Steak or chicken?
Ooh, steak. I'm a Montana bred girl. I gotta say steak.
All right, like it. Cats or dogs?
Can I say neither? We don't have pets, but I do love dogs. We just don't have a house set up for that. So my kids would definitely say both.
All right. Oh, that's what I should put. Cats or dogs, and if it's a neither, it's kids, right?
Yes. Yep, that's exactly it. We're busy with them.
Right. All right. Hard book or Audible?
Ooh, audio, probably, because I like to drive a lot.
All right. Running shoes or high heels?
Ooh, I like both. So I love my workout shoes, but I can't give up my high heels. So I guess I'll inch on high heels.
All right. Gummy bears or chocolate?
Gummy bears.
Fun. All right. Money or free time?
Definitely free time.
All right. Early riser or night owl?
I'm a morning person, early riser.
Okay. Now, we were talking about this earlier, and this might be a neither, but Facebook or Twitter?
Yeah, this is a neither.
This is a neither for you, right?
No.
All right. Road trip or air travel?
Air travel.
Awesome. Okay, that got you warmed up. So now the real tough stuff start. The tough questions start. So
oh boy.
Now we know the mountain girl with the high heels that drives a car. And
I know it all doesn't go together.
With the ski boots in the back, right?
Yeah, I'm a little bit of everything.
Awesome. All right. Well, listen. Let's let everybody get to know you a little bit. Tell us a little bit about you guys and where you're from. Tell us about the family, the kids, and just so we can kind of get a little bit of background about who you guys are.
Yeah, sure. So my husband Troy is actually originally from Maine, and I'm technically originally from Montana, born and bred. So we both grew up in beautiful states. We met in college and have two little rugrats now running around. You might hear them in the background. So we are homeschooling because of COVID. But we've got a 10-year-old son, Alex, and an 8-year-old daughter, London. And that's our family. We kind of merged Maine and Montana in the beautiful two states that they are. And that's what planted us in Colorado. It was the first job I had after college, and we fell in love with it. We traveled quite a bit with jobs after that first visit to Colorado, and everywhere we were just pointed us back here. Such a good merge of having things to do in the city of Denver, but also having just so much play area, just a short hour to 2 hour drive away. So we fell in love with the area and have planted ourselves here ever since.
Nice. And outside, you in the Denver area?
We are, yep. So we're in the south suburbs, Parker, of Denver. And yeah, it's just a good, about 2-hour drive to Breckenridge. Our family loves to ski. Our kids are in a ski program, the Breck Bombers. So it just makes a good little mix for us, whether we want the city or the mountains.
Awesome. Fun. I think I told you, I used to live up in Thornton, so just on the north side of Denver for a few years.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
city.
right.
Yep, great city. So tell us what you do for a living.
So I actually work with a biopharmaceutical company. So I sell a respiratory biologic and help severe asthma patients basically get kind of the therapy that they need once the inhalers aren't doing enough. So yeah, so I get to help patients every day. So this is the real estate stuff is definitely on the opposite side, but it's always been my passion. It's kind of the same thing, right? It's helping people kind of live their best life and really making those moments into memories. So
nice. So you've got the inside track on when we're gonna put this COVID stuff behind us.
Yes, exactly. Our company is actually one of them that's making the vaccines. So we definitely are hearing a lot of updates, but I'm hoping it's getting close. Gilead just put theirs out. So we're getting really close to having some good news. So hopefully this will get us all back to normal, right?
Nice. Yep. And then you mentioned you guys love to ski. You love the outdoors, mountains. Anything else that occupies family time?
Really just travel. The only one that we really repeat is probably Disney. Our whole family just loves Disney, and we love the experience. We love helping other families kind of navigate it because it is a big animal to tackle when you go the first time, and you see those families with the deer in headlights where you just want to take them in and help them out. So that's probably the only repeat trip that we do, but everything else we just like to experience new things. So we were supposed to take our kids to Europe this summer, and obviously that got squashed. So we're hoping next summer that'll be their first big international trip. But we just love, we went to Roatan, we went to a lot of the islands in the Caribbean. We love culture stuff. We love seeing cities and history. So really just sharing all the different parts of our world with our kids and kind of, broadening their horizon of what's out there.
Awesome. Love it. So there's kind of no surprise you were drawn to the vacation rental side of life then, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Right.
That should be an obvious answer.
Yep. That's exactly it. So
I need to make sure I make a note of the Disney kind of itinerary help because last time I was in Disneyland, I was standing on Main Street and I held up my phone and I started turning around, and my wife knows I don't like Disneyland, and I'm like, it's just not my cup of tea. And so we're there. I'd rather be up in the mountains with no cell service and just completely away from everything. That's more my style. And so she's like, oh, that's cute. We're leaving and you're taking a selfie of yourself in Disneyland. I said, I'm just taking a video to remind myself if I ever want to come back to hurry and look at this video and see how many people are behind me on this main street that I can't even walk down. And so
exactly the reason that you hate it, right?
Yeah, I'm like, okay, so I can't say I share the same sentiment about Disneyland, but it is actually a great place. And my kids love it, so we end up going. Do you like Disneyland or Disney World?
So we're quite Disney World fans, for all the different parks that they have there. And we just saw the Star Wars when it opened. Yeah. My husband and my son, and even my daughter too, they're all big Star Wars fans. So we had to go experience that and Ride of the Resistance. And my daughter was just talking about it again today. So we'll definitely be going back in the future, but I totally get your point. You should go now during COVID.
I know that's what Teresa's telling me. She's like, she's already booking. She's like, this is the perfect time to go, Sean. She's like, I'm booking flights, and I'm really close to saying yes to it. So I don't know if she listens to my podcast, so she might. If she listens to it, she'll be so super excited. But we'll see.
My phone will be ringing. Yeah. Tell her to call.
Awesome. Well, as we're kind of appreciate you sharing that and the love of travel and the new experiences and all that stuff. I mean, it's exactly why we love this game. But what really drew you to the vacation rental side of life and ultimately, deciding to run down that road?
Yeah, so we started in real estate probably, it was right before the 2008 crash. So we actually were living in Arizona at the time. And with my husband's work, we traveled quite a bit. So we lived in 5 states in 5 years. Mm-hmm. So we were popping around quite a bit, but when we were in Arizona, we started our real estate portfolio down there. And we had about 5 properties. We were doing, kind of the long-term rental thing. And obviously the crash happened. So it took us a while to rebound after that. And I think when we came into this, the vacation rental space, we thought, finally there's something that really connects with who we are. as people, we love to entertain. We have about 4 families that our kids have grown up like cousins. They are the family that we have in Colorado. So we love sharing experiences with them, but also just entertaining and turning those, like I said, those moments into memories. And so this was the first one that actually merged all of the things that we do. My husband's in the hotel industry, so he's really used to the customer experience, as well as, the crazy things we do with our house. We're known as big decorators. We love holidays. We always have a Halloween party, as well as, we have a lobster party because my husband's from Maine every summer. So it kind of merged all of those loves that we have and putting this big experience in for different people that we can share what we love about Colorado, and hopefully make some memories for them.
Awesome. I love it. And it's so, resonates so true to what we believe and what other people in the group and just people in general in this space is, and you tried your hand at traditional real estate, right? And that's a great investment. Most people universally agree that done correctly, real estate's a great investment, but sometimes it's fun, sometimes it's not. And this allows us the ability to have that, that investment side, buy property, have that property ownership benefits, but really do it in a way that we love and create these experiences. And like you said, there's no surprise that, when we met back at the end of August, it was a really short time ago, right? We're recording this at the end of October, and, that's a couple months in, and no surprise what in the story that we'll share here shortly of exactly that road you guys have run down and found a property, had some success, and having a lot of fun setting it up to deliver that unique experience, right? It isn't just about the investment now. It's about kind of sharing your love of that area and your, so that other people can enjoy that. And it's a lot of fun. And it's a lot of fun just to run down that road.
Yeah, and there's so many different vehicles of real estate, right? I think I've always been drawn to real estate because I can see it, I know it, I understand it, right? And there's so many different ways that you can take real estate. We dabbled in land sales for a while. We did that long-term rental, but I think this is the first one is that you've talked about it before, is really specializing. And that's what I do for work, right? I call in physicians, I call in specialized physicians, and that is where they know their patients inside and out when they have that diagnosis. And it's the same as us in real estate. This is the first specialty that has really seemed to make sense for us, and I truly love the ins and the outs of it, and really just, helping people come to Colorado and experience what we love about it, and sharing, just like I told you about Disney, we love to pass on our knowledge and our experience. So hopefully we can do that for others.
Awesome. As you were getting into it, anything that you were, big fears that you had going into it before you really took the leap? I know when we talked, you were kind of still, you guys pretty much, knew you wanted to do this, wanted to run down this road, right? You just were trying to figure out exactly how to do it. What were any big fears that stand out in the beginning that as you were trying to take on this new endeavor?
Yeah, I don't think we really had any fears. We were kind of, you probably remember when we first talked to you. I think we devoured your entire, an 8-week lesson? I think we did it in 1 week. I would not suggest that to necessarily everyone, but we already had a realtor scheduled. So we knew we wanted to get to that part of the training and just take in as much as we could and then go back and kind of, delve in a little bit deeper and refresh when we needed it. So I don't know that we had any really big fears. We just saw a lot of opportunity. And I know you talk about this too, of taking action. The opportunity piece for us on the financial side is we've had our financial advisor tell us for years about 529s. And I know I remember having this conversation with you about, college education. You got to save for your kids' college education. Well, we only have about 10 years until that point within our family. And that just never resonated with me. So I think we saw a lot of opportunity in having an asset. And I know 529 works for a lot of people, not saying, again, it's just another vehicle. But for us, we wanted something that after our kids went to college, we still have an asset. And it's an asset that we can enjoy along the way, and before, during, and after they go to college. And if, they choose to do something else in their life, we always have this asset. So it's teaching our kids a lot of principles. But I think that was the biggest thing for us. It's not necessarily a fear, but really just capitalizing on the time that we have with our kids left to show them some of the principles that we believe in as a family, and showing how that hard work pays off and some things that they can replicate in their lifetime.
That's awesome. And it's so fun. I have kids roughly that's the same age as your kids. I've got twins that are 9 right now, and it's so fun. Like I've been in real estate my whole life, and I've been around, most of the time the people around me are not that interested in the land development deals and, the apartment complexes or the single family rentals. When we talk about vacation rentals, they get really interested, right? And they enjoy it. But the fun part about that we start to see and that I've seen is our kids start to learn these principles. They start to learn about, okay, what's an asset? In fact, we were at earlier this year, we were at a family party, and my 9-year-olds have my father-in-law sitting in a chair and one on each side of them, and they're explaining the difference between appreciating assets and depreciating assets. And so
I love it.
It's awesome. I love it too. But it's so fun because they do get involved. They do get immersed. And on the side of even like spouses, right? I've worked with investors forever, and up until we started kind of specializing in this niche, I've never worked I worked with one or the other, the husband or the wife, and it was just kind of an investment vehicle. Well, now it's a family deal, and it's not only that investment vehicle, but you're teaching, and we're interested in these principles and with kids, especially young kids, we're teaching them these principles, and they're learning about the difference between, expenses and income, and how to maximize an asset, like we talked about, with unique experiences, all that stuff. And it's so fun to see because they're learning these things because they're interested in it, because it revolves around, fun stuff. And
yeah, that's exactly it. It was our dinner conversation at, the table a couple nights ago was what was an asset, versus a liability.
Yeah.
And same thing. They're learning those principles, and they're learning the hard work, which I love.
Yes.
I mean, we're going up to the cabin every weekend, and we're putting in a lot of our own time to make that unique experience. So I love that piece too. My husband's obviously up there right now, and my son asked this morning, he goes, "Mom, I want to go up there." Pretty sure he said that just because he has remote learning today, and he wants to get out of school. But he really wants to build the furniture because he knows it's coming in. So he wants to see that to fruition. And my daughter she's very artistic. She loves to paint. So she puts her painting clothes on and she's painting walls with me. And I just love that they have a little bit of that equity, that sweat equity into this property too, that hopefully one day this will be theirs down the line as well. And they'll have those memories, but also it's teaching them some really good financial principles.
Yeah. And you're spending time together too, right? It's
right.
It's and it's an easy way to get our kids to work, right? Free labor.
Exactly.
Tell them we're buying a vacation home. So awesome. Well, we talked a lot about the asset. Tell us a little bit about it. Tell us where it's at and what you found. What you guys are doing.
Yeah, absolutely. So we were kind of debating between two different properties. So outside of Denver, about 2 hours from here is Breckenridge, big ski resort that everybody knows of. And we go there all the time in the winter skiing. So we thought that's kind of the area we wanted to center around. The two options were either having a condo in Breckenridge or having a house about 40 minutes out in a little town called Fairplay. And so that was the way that we ended up going, was we wanted to have kind of this whole entity that we could customize the experience, but also a place that really suits our family. The space suits it better. So it's a 4-bedroom, 3-bath house and cabin kind of up in the mountains there. And it's just, Fairplay's got such an interesting little history behind it. It was a gold mining town. So it was actually founded back in 1859. And this, the big Pikes Peak Gold Rush was happening. So all these miners were coming out, and basically the first settlers that came to this area, they rushed and they staked their land and they got these huge plots. Well, the second wave of miners came behind them, and what they realized, they found it was unfair, right? All these people had made claims and they had these huge lots of land, and just because they were a moment too late, they really didn't have a whole lot left. So they kind of set up their own mining camp, and they called the other one, the first one, Grab All, because these people grabbed it all. They took all this land, and their little settlement became known as Fairplay because they wanted things to be more equitable and fair. So it has just a really cool history of mining. There's still a little ghost town there that actually shows the 1800s buildings. Just a really fun, good people, good, heart, like earth kind of people. Kind of where it reminds me of home, Montana. They're just good, hardworking people. So That's what drew us to that area. So our home is just above that little town, and it's at 11,000 feet. So that's why we called it the Alpine. That's going to be our name for the home.
Yep.
And I love hiking. Our family hikes 14ers, which are 14,000 foot peaks for those that don't know or don't live in Colorado.
Yeah.
So we have about 50 of them in Colorado, and we love to hike that. And so ironically, this little cabin overlooks Mount Sherman, which was actually my kids' first 14er that they ever climbed. So the first 14,000 foot peak that they did just a couple years ago. And we've got views of that. So everything felt like it was coming full circle for us. It was not easy finding a property. As you know, during COVID, I think some spots are really hot, and everybody from the city right now in Denver is trying to find a place outside of the city to get away. So luckily, I think that's where we learned a lot too. It was trying to find a property, but what we really realized is finding those connections in the network of people. That's essentially how we found this one. So this property was not even on the market. We actually got to see it because it was an in-broker deal. And we went in, saw the cabin, saw the views, and we were like, this is the one, and got to put it in offer basically the moment it went live.
Yeah, it's, and obviously I've seen it as far as pictures and everything else. It's, I mean, it looks awesome. I can't wait to come visit it and check it out. We'll be one of your guests for sure. And
thanks. Yeah.
It just looks like an amazing property. I wanted to kind of touch on a couple things that you mentioned there and unpack a couple things for people that sometimes is a little bit of a misconception when you're looking at those areas, right? You mentioned that, obviously Breckenridge is an area that everybody knows about and everybody's familiar with. And sometimes we assume that those are the only areas that are going to make a lot of sense because that's what everybody's coming to. And then you said, or you've got Fairplay that's 40 minutes away or so and from Breckenridge. And, essentially Breckenridge is still a main profit driver for that area in the wintertime. People are still going to stay in Fairplay and go ski at Breckenridge and enjoy, or even in the summer and enjoy the mountain resort area. But there's other things to do in Fairplay around that. But as you went through that process, was that ever a concern or a worry for you when you were looking at it, wondering do I need to be in the Class A resort towns, or can I be a little bit on the outskirts and still make this work?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I remember running some acquisition deals by you and kind of having that same conversation of, do we, like if we were oceanfront, right? Do we have to be literally right on the ocean, or in our terms, do we have to literally be in Breckenridge? And so a lot of things that we kind of munched through was really just when we took the acquisition piece, the acquisition cost is obviously a lot lower when you get further away. And another piece in Breckenridge is there's a transfer fee. So they immediately take 1% transfer fee. They also have higher tax rates just for the occupancy of, having a vacation rental, right? So all of these things, when you looked at kind of apples to apples of what we could get as a condo in Breckenridge or a cabin 40 minutes away, and an acquisition piece, it was return on investment was a lot better 40 minutes out. And again, it suited our family well as well. So that was another thing we looked at. Do we really want to be in a condo? I'm kind of like you this way. This is the Montana in me. I don't want to be around people. I love to ski, but I don't like the condo aspect of feels like an apartment. So we really wanted something that suited our family. Acquisition was definitely a lot better. And when we looked at AirDNA, the numbers actually were stellar because it's kind of the epicenter for so many activities, as you kind of shined a light on. You can hike, you can fish, we can have an hour to whitewater rafting down south of the town. We can go 40 minutes into Breckenridge to ski. So it kind of has that all season appeal as well. And it's interesting how maybe at one time you start to look at the ski resort and you think this is the draw. And then you think, your mind starts to change about, what, we have an all seasons approach that's way better in acquisition.
Yeah, for sure. And it's such a, it's a conclusion that a lot of people come to after, because it is a little bit of a misconception that people worry, I have to be right here, right? And a lot of times in the very beginning, when we're kind of unpacking that in that acquisition phase, kind of unpacking the actual location and area you want to be in. And I always tell people you're overthinking it. First of all, what fits your family the best, right? Do you guys like to be in the heart of the action, like the condo, right? Slope side condo and be right there? Or do you like to do other stuff? Do you like to have, so first we look at that, because I know as you start to look at the profit drivers and you start to run the numbers and everything else, both can make sense. And many times on the outskirts, you're going to get a higher return on your investment. And a lot of people don't realize that until they start to really get into doing that full-on property analysis and looking at that. And so, yeah, I appreciate you sharing that. I think that's a big key for a lot of people that listen to this because especially in the beginning stages, they assume they have to be in these Class A resort towns to make this work. And then immediately we look at the price tags in the Class A resort towns and think, I'm out of the game. I can't do it. Right. It's like, shit, I can't afford that. So it's probably not going to work in these other areas. And you're exactly right. Like a Fairplay, for example, and Breckenridge is an all season type of mountain towns now are pretty much, they've got two major peak seasons that extend. I mean, they really only have the mud seasons now that are not a draw. And even the mud season, it's like we were up there in Breckenridge for mud season this year, and it's amazing, right? Like all the stuff that they've added. Yeah. It's truly what you just said. It's all 4 seasons kind of anywhere up in that space. Yeah. But I think that's what we learned is, Breckenridge will suit a lot of people. It's still a great investment. But I think when we looked apples to apples, there were just things that personally for us, but also the return on investment, I think for the long haul, just makes sense for us to be a little bit ways out on this one. Awesome. Okay. So now the other thing I wanted to touch on is, I'm learning of this like amazing history with Fairplay. And we talk a lot about in our, as you set this up to deliver that unique experience. Are you incorporating any of that history into the property for the, if I was to come stay at your property, would I have that unique experience? Anything you can touch on there? Yeah. So we're doing a little bit with the design that way of kind of bringing in that mining, the rustic iron mixed with some modern elements. So we're kind of doing that in the design. And that was actually another piece for us is through your network, we actually got connected with an interior designer. I highly recommend that. I know I had some people friends and family that were like, you don't need that. Yeah. And I have to say the things that she came up with and really looking at it from what in a photo, what's the story it's going to tell in those photos. And she did that punch of color and she did these unique things that I know I wouldn't have come up with. So you just, for example, like in some of the bathrooms, you can get a vinyl, it's almost like a wallpaper, right? You give them a picture and they can print anything now on wallpaper. So we're doing that kind of mining as like the old town of Fairplay in one of the bathrooms. So you can kind of get that historic mining feeling. So that is one piece, I think, through the design that we're going to pull through. But then it's also how we're going to tie it in is really speaking to the guests about the opportunities that they can have there. The other thing is my husband is actually a graphic designer by trade. So he doesn't do it anymore, but through his hotel design, he still gets a little bit of that creative outlet. So we're doing a lot of custom painting inside. So every room is going to have a very unique feel, a very unique design. And hopefully that gives that element of things that people see that maybe they can take it back to their own town or in their own home and do that same thing. Or it's just something that's very memorable that they feel like every space is just really well thought out in the home. I love it. Yeah, I can't wait to see the finished product. I have no doubt. And that's why I was kind of wanting to ask that because obviously I saw the before pictures. I haven't seen the how. And I think you mentioned like with the designer, it's really important to be able to tell a story through the pictures. And a lot of that is, especially in the beginning when people are seeing these listings, there's a lot of houses that look like model homes. There's a lot of really nice properties available, but not a lot of them really tell a story. And employing a designer to help you do that with, like you said, it's just paying attention to every little detail and really thinking through that process that you can visually tell a story. But then when they get there, now they're immersed into that story, and then you deliver with other things that add to it. Like, I mean, you mentioned, I imagine you'll have the day trip itineraries, things that those guests can do because you've already said that's something you love to do. You love to share that just with Disney, and you don't have a property in Disney yet. And so, I imagine you'll do the same there, and that's really fun. And I think that's important for people to remember is short-term rentals have become so popular because we travel, first of all, for those unique experiences. We travel to not just go stay in a beautiful home in the cabins, but to go learn about the history of Fairplay. Like just that short, history that you shared with us, that's awesome. And you start to incorporate that in the story that you're telling, in the scene that you're setting. And I think that's a lot of fun. I can't wait to see the finished product there that you guys are putting together.
Yeah, yep, it'll be fun. It'll definitely be fun. And hopefully people that, some kids that have never seen those old historic buildings can go into the town and experience a real ghost town, that kind of thing. And my husband loves the creative side. So the kids' room in the bottom, like we have 2 kids, like I said. So we're really kind of going with that mindset of where would love to go, where we can have a great time, but also where kids can have their own space in the home. So the downstairs kids' bedroom is going to be kind of this forest theme room, and he's painting it, and it's going to be like the hidden animal pictures, if you remember when we were kids, where you could, you find in the picture all the little, different animals that were on the code. And so we're going to do that same thing in the room where there's going to be hidden animals painted on in all the setting on the wall of this forest, and the kids can take the little scratch off sheet and find them all, and some will be tougher than others. So just those little things where in a chalk wall where they can play vertical games of checkers, and just, like I said, a lot of family experience, but also tying that local area of why do people originally come for gold mining, but also these were frontiersmen that it wasn't an easy place to settle.
Yeah.
And so kind of tying that in just to bringing families back to family. Awesome.
Love it. Yeah. And it's fun because you're going to expose people that are coming for the major draws, right? The ski hills and the whitewater rafting, or to go hike some of the peaks. But then when they get there, they're going to learn so much more about the area. And that's part of the fun of creating this unique experience and sharing things with them that they might have never known. And that's how it becomes memorable. And that's how you build a business with repeat customers and everything else, right? They're going to have this amazing experience. And ultimately, these are assets that we want to maximize as much as possible and be as profitable as possible as well. And that's how you do it. We do it by creating these unique experiences. Some of those things you're talking about, they're not going to necessarily be coming to the area for that. Many people will be coming for some of the major profit drivers and then learn that while they're there. And most people don't take the time to do that. And it's going to really, it's just exciting. I love hearing that. I appreciate you sharing that. It's really fun to hear, when people put those unique experiences together. It's just awesome for people. So, so as you've gone through the process and you're going through it, I'm sure that there were some things that didn't go as planned, or anything that comes to mind as far as that goes. Any bumps in the road that are coming to mind that you'd want to kind of share with people?
Yeah, I think ours, for being in a rural setting, if you're looking at an asset like that, it's just been interesting on after acquisition, getting some of the stuff set up that we thought would go very smoothly. So one of them was internet, right? We're in a cabin at 11,000 feet. You would think that we would have line of sight to anything we want because we're at the top of a mountain, but surprisingly, you don't necessarily have access to internet. So that's been one where, and again, it comes back to that network. I think that was a big learning piece for us is I knew that, even in the job that I do, for my day in, day out job, networking is so crucial. But I have to say that was one of the big things of getting over those hurdles, like not being able to find the internet service. So we went on the Facebook group for the local area, which they call Valley of the Sun up there, VOS for short. So we went on the VOS web, Facebook, and we posted. My husband kind of went through all that of, what are the options, talking to people, talking to our management company, and everybody had something different to share, and just plowing through all of those. And after, I'm sure 20 plus people, we finally found this new company that actually might be viable, because for our property, we don't have line of sight to anything else. So it's been interesting kind of like delving through that. The other one for us, surprisingly, I had ordered, it's completely empty. It's a vacant property. So you have to order everything. And I made this Excel spreadsheet to the nth degree of every single line item, what the dollar amount is for it. So we had all these shipments. I'm trying to navigate what company they're coming from, when they're coming from, because it's 2 hours away for us. And UPS and FedEx was being delivered fine. But all of a sudden, we kept getting signals from Amazon. Everything was being returned. And that was a majority of our house supplies, right, to actually furnish the kitchen and all of that. And we couldn't figure out why. Well, come to find out, the USPS, United States Postal Service, doesn't deliver there. And you have to address it differently to this general mail, which we would have never known. So it's all these like little hiccups, and then trying to find out what was actually delivered, what was returned. So it's just fun to, just kind of get past all these like little bumps in the road of truly becoming a native up there. But I have to say, just having those people around you, of the people that actually live our neighbors on the street, our management company, other people even in your group that own properties up there. Rod Schmidt's been super helpful to us. So having that network of people have helped us kind of overcome those hurdles.
Nice. And we might have already answered this, but I like to always talk about those aha moments through the process of like, okay, these are some things that were important and that I'm like, okay, I'm really glad that we knew this, or we figured this out throughout that process. And so, I mean, obviously you've touched on network a lot. Anything else that would be an aha moment that's coming to mind?
I think it was the knowledge, of course, that we got from the program, but I have to say it goes back to that network, and it's to make sure that your team is around you is truly sound. And don't press, like the first time that we saw a property management company, we had kind of narrowed it down. We did our interviews, and there was a property management group that I felt probably okay with, but it just wasn't wowing me. And I really thought that was going to be the one that we were going to have to go with because we're running out of options. And then luckily through this group, again, Rod actually connected us to this very kind of, I would say, a boutique manager, hosting from the heart. And they spoke, and I think that's my big aha, is make sure that someone's speaking the same language that you are. And when it was an immediate synergy when we talked, they were speaking the same. They talked about the ultimate customer experience and that they really wanted to wow their guests. And the big piece of theirs was having those people want to return, right? Just like you said, they're going to return in different parts of the year to do maybe something that they didn't even know was an opportunity the first time they came to that area. So when they started talking like that about their success factors and what makes them unique, then I knew, you know what, these people are in alignment with exactly how we see our property. So that would probably be my other aha moment, is if you're not feeling totally confident with that particular vendor or anybody on your team, keep pushing, keep digging for another source, because you will find it.
Oh, I love that you said that. That is such, in this game, or, we talk about that so much, is making sure you have the right people. And sometimes it can be a really talented company and they can have, they manage a lot of properties in the area, since we're talking about management, and they just don't feel like the right fit, right? And there does have to be that alignment. And you're exactly right. Just keep going through that interview process. And really, I commend you guys for doing that, because so many people don't, because it's a pain, right? Interviewing management companies and trying to figure that out. It's my least favorite part of the process, is trying to get that all lined up. And many times people just settle. And I think it's such a mistake. And I'm so glad you touched on that, because that alignment needs to be there. And when it is, it just feels right. And right? And it's going to be you guys will have a great relationship, I have no doubt. And it'll be, and for those reasons that you took the time to push through to find the right fit. So I think that's a huge lesson for people that are going through this process to listen to, is don't just settle, figure it out. In fact, even on the acquisition, I was just talking to one of our members in our group, and had a property under contract, pencils out, amazing investment, and she just wasn't excited about it. And she really felt so much better in a town that was about 30 minutes away. And for really no other reason, that she just likes the coffee shops in that town and likes the little downtown area, right? And
love it.
Like, well, let's find you a property in that area then. It should feel right. This should be fun. And so she backed out of that property and looking and found another property. And it's like, she's just lit up, she's so much happier and so much more excited. And that's the key, is don't settle. Even though she found a property that would work financially and returns financially, it just wasn't the right fit for her. And now, and the same with the management company. The first management company probably would have worked out okay. They managed a lot of properties in the area, but it just didn't feel like it was the right fit. And I think that's a huge lesson for so many people to learn. So I appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah, absolutely. We always talk in the world of business, if you hire well, right, everything else is so much easier. And I feel like it's the same way in real estate. It's, from getting the right asset, like the other person that, maybe stepped away from that asset and wanted the one where she was really, really heartfelt and really felt passion. And then also hiring the right team around you. It has to, if you hire well, I have a feeling that everything else is going to go so much smoother for us. Yeah,
absolutely. Awesome. So let me look at my notes here real quick and see if there's anything else that we didn't cover. I know we're kind of coming to the end of our time, and one thing, if you had to do it over again, I love asking this question. Is there something you would change if you had to do it all over again?
Oh, wow. We can't wait to buy our second one.
You can't go much faster. You can't say, I mean, you guys are like rolling through this. So this is,
I know. I probably wish I would have done it, 10 years ago when we did the whole long-term rental piece. I think it goes back to what you just said about, it has to feel right. I knew 10 years ago that didn't, it was a great learning experience. We loved it. We were good at it. It was fine. It was another vehicle, right? But it didn't feel like this does today. It doesn't hit on all those aspects of who we are and truly what we love to do with our life. So I think that would be my other big kind of maybe do-over is it wasn't as big 2008 when we were first getting into real estate. However, I think you just have to make sure it feels right.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. You guys, and even in that setup process, I always tell people it usually takes a lot longer than you think it's going to take, right? I always tell people you're not going to buy a property unless it's already set up and it's a turnkey property. If you're setting it up from scratch, you've got to give yourself a couple months to get it before it's live. When did you guys close on your property?
So we closed October 13th and we're supposed to go live November 23rd. So that is about a month and a half. We're pushing that time frame quite a bit. Because everybody kind of said, about 2 months. And then obviously with the shipping supplies right now, the supply chain is a little bit backed up. So it's not necessarily what you want to furnish. It's kind of what you can get. That's the other learning that we've had. But you're right. If it's a vacant property, I would say give yourself a couple months and make sure that you kind of have that spreadsheet of what's truly going to be your setup cost and factor that into your acquisition accurately. So you make sure that kind of like your going in numbers, or if you're picking a property that's already furnished, and how much of that furnishings are you really going to use, and what percentage of it are you going to be replenishing?
Yeah, awesome. So do you have a website or anything yet? Is that set up? If people wanted to check your property out, I know it's not live right now, but as people will listen to this down the line, we'd love to. We'll obviously link it in the show notes, but sometimes people are just listening to this and don't look at the notes. What do you have a website?
Yeah, sure. Thealpine.com. So it's just getting ready to go live, and your team has helped us quite a bit with that. So just thealpine.com. Okay,
spelled out thealpine.com. Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. That's fun. We'll make sure that we put that in the show notes as well. And I'm telling you guys, I've seen the area, the property, the pictures, and I can't wait to see the finished product. I will definitely be visiting. So it's that's one of the funnest parts about this. And in fact, I'm like, I like it so much. I'm trying to figure out how to make it part of the business. And so I'm like, okay, now we're doing a YouTube channel where I go around and visit all of our members' properties. So that's going to be so
genius. Yeah, we'll definitely have to do a property swap for sure. Love to come see yours too.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, listen, Misti, I sure appreciate your time today, and everybody who's listening, go check out thealpine.com. And, I hope you did. I learned a lot, even just hearing Misti share some of her story and some of the things that she learned. I love hearing, how fast you guys have gone through it. You and Troy are just absolute rock stars when it comes to just action takers. You're the easiest people to work with. And because you just put your head down and you do it. And I love it. And you got that first property. We'll get this sucker set up, and you'll make money, and we'll go find another one. Is the next one, is there ever going to be one that revolves around Disney?
If you ask my husband, there will be. I think I'm having a hard time talking him out of that one.
So all right. Well, I'll definitely visit the mountain property. You'll have to have a good story for the Disney one. I'm giving Disney a bad time. I shouldn't do that because my family loves it. I always am like, I want to turn everything off and be getting away.
I love it. Well, that'll be our true test. If we can get you to come back out to Disney.
Yeah, that's what we'll test. If you create enough of a unique experience that I come back to Disney, then you hit a home run.
Exactly.
Love it.
Game on.
I love it. Awesome, Misti. Well, listen, thank you so much for joining us today on the podcast. You guys, we'll be back every week. If you got anything out of the episode, share it, like it, leave us a review, and we'll be back with you same time, same place next week. Cheers.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Vacation Rental Revolution podcast. Share this with other people you think need to hear about it. And don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. Hey Grace, is there a website?
Yes! For more amazing content and expert advice, visit Vodacy.com.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode.